Hey everybody, it's Mary, and today I am going to be showing you how to make some homemade paint with items that most of us probably have around the house. I am hoping to pretty soon here start doing some more craft videos for you all at home. That's something that we do a lot here in the Glade. We do lots of arts and crafts and a lot of painting. And I then realized that a lot of people probably don't have paint just lying around their house. I know I don't have paint at my house. We do have a lot here in the Glade, obviously, because we do crafts and different activities. So we have a lot available to paint with, but for those of us who are stuck at home and can't get out to buy paint to do crafts with, there are a couple of options of ways that you can make your own paint with things that you have around your house. So I've got all of my supplies right here, and one thing that is really helpful to have is food coloring. So I think a lot of people tend to have food coloring around their house. So the first thing we're going to do is make some paint out of corn syrup. I always want to say cornstarch. Corn syrup and some food coloring. So I've got here some little jars. These were yogurt or baby food jars. You can use bowls, whatever you have at your house. I've seen people use muffin tins so that it can be a paint palette and you can mix all your different colors together. So I'm going to show you how to do this first one. And the good thing about these options that I'm about to show you is that they are edible. You don't want to sit around and eat corn syrup and food coloring. However, if you have children or somebody who maybe has some cognitive impairments and tends to put things in their mouth, these options are things that are okay if it does go in their mouth, whereas acrylic paint or watercolors, that's not okay to put in your mouth. So let me show you this first option. I've got my corn syrup right here. And this is something I've had in my pantry for forever. So I'm gonna take this and just squeeze a little bit of it into my jar. And it just depends on how much paint you want to make. I'm not gonna make a whole lot here. And then I'm gonna take my food coloring and just squirt a few drops. And I think it depends on how dark and vibrant you want your color. So I'll put, 5 or 6 drops so you can see there. I want you to see how it looks on the inside. See, this is going to mix together really well. And it is, with this corn syrup, it's a very thick and sticky consistency. So you can just stir it up real good, and I'll show you. It's syrup, so it's sticky. However, it is sweet. I actually tasted it when I was doing this yesterday. It is very sweet and sticky. So if someone accidentally puts this in their mouth, they're probably gonna like it because it tastes sweet like candy, but that's okay. So here's your consistency. It's kind of like molasses or honey, but you can see it's a really nice, vibrant blue color. And I've got my paint paper right here. Let me show you how it goes on. You see that there? It's a very shiny, almost like a jewel-like tone to it. And it's got a glassy look to it. You see there how it shines in the light. So it comes out with a nice color. The only problem with this is that it is sticky and it stays wet and sticky for quite a while. I did some yesterday when I was at home, and you'll see I put it in my bag this morning to carry them in, and it was still sticky and it stuck to my bag, so it looks kind of funny now, but it does take a long time to dry, and this has been almost 18 hours of drying, and it's still sticky. So that's the only downside to this type of paint, but it is very beautiful. So that's one way, using corn syrup and food coloring to make paint at home. And then our other option is something that I know pretty much everybody has at their house for baking and different things, is canola oil or vegetable oil. And this was interesting when I tried it yesterday, because at first I thought oh, this is not going to work because this is oil and food coloring is more water-based, and those two, as we know, do not mix well. So I put, when you drop your food coloring in, you'll see that it separates from the oil. So I'm going to put just a few drops in, and you can see there it's just sinking to the bottom, and you have little balls of food coloring that are not mixing at all. But this one is really neat because what you can do is if you take your brush and you mix it really, really good, you see those particles starting to break up and get smaller, and I'm going to put a good amount of food coloring in here. Okay, so you see there, it's not really mixing, but I guess you could say it's spreading out. And the more you mix, the more your food coloring is going to spread out in there. And so this is probably the fun part, is just mixing it. And you'll see that when you paint it, it almost looks a little clear at first. And then we've got to make sure we mix it a lot. And depending on how much oil you use, you'll want to add more food coloring. So let's just mix that real good. And it's hard to tell on the camera, but you see it's coming out and it looks dark, like a dark dingy color, but you can see that those little, it's got little specks in it. You see that? And it turns out to be almost a watercolor paint consistency, and I will show you what it looks like when it dries. So that's what it comes out as, and I did a red one yesterday too. So the more oil you have, the more food coloring you want to use, but to me that looks a lot like watercolor. And the good thing about this as compared to the corn syrup, this dries very quickly. It does not stay wet and sticky, and it really is a nice muted tone almost. So you can use this just to do some abstract paintings, or you can do ombre colors if you want to. But it's really, I think the coolest part about this is just seeing the colors mixed together and all of those different particles. And after, the more mixing you do, the better the colors start to blend together. You see I've mixed it a little bit more and I'm getting more of that blue in there. And this, again, just like the corn syrup, this is oil that we cook with, so it doesn't taste as good as the corn syrup, but if someone did happen to accidentally put their brush in their mouth, it's okay. It's no cause for concern. So those are just a couple of ways to make paint at home. I've also heard that you can use pudding. So vanilla pudding, you take a packet and mix it with 2 cups of cold water and let it sit in the refrigerator for a couple hours or overnight if you can, and then you add your food coloring to it. So that makes a really thick consistency paint as well. And also, again, that one would taste really good too if someone put it in their mouth accidentally. And then if you don't have any food coloring, there's lots of other things around your house that you can use. I had thought about using blueberries that I have in my refrigerator. You can mash those up and get some liquid and make some nice colors with that. Strawberries, if you have some old makeup, you can even use nail polish too for paint. So just, you know, while you're at home and not able to get out and get arts and crafts supplies, just try to be creative with the ways that you come up with supplies that you can use. So this is a way that you can make some simple and easy homemade paint, and then later on I will be showing you all some different arts and crafts and ways that you can actually use this paint. Hope you all have a great day.